Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel and stay with us till the end, because today's story is not just about a coin. It's about history, power, and a hidden value that might surprise you. Imagine holding a small piece of metal in your hand. Cool, solid, and quiet. At first glance, it looks ordinary. But what if I told you that this single coin carries the weight of a nation's past, the echo of its struggles, and a value that has stunned collectors around the world? This is the story of the 1971 South African 1 Rand silver coin. Now, take yourself back to the early 1970s. The world was changing rapidly. Economies were shifting, political tensions were high, and precious metals like silver were beginning to gain serious attention. South Africa, rich in natural resources, stood at the center of global interest. And right in the middle of that era, this coin was minted. The 1971 1 Rand was not just currency. It was crafted from silver, a metal that has always symbolized wealth, durability, and prestige. When people used it in daily transactions, they didn't realize they were passing around something that would one day become a collector's treasure. Look closely at the coin and you'll notice its strong, dignified design. The imagery reflects authority and tradition. It was designed to represent stability during uncertain times. For many men who lived through that period, coins like this were part of everyday life. They were in your pocket, your wallet, or maybe even forgotten in a drawer. But today, that same coin has transformed into something far more significant. What makes this coin truly special is not just its silver content. It's the combination of age, condition, rarity, and historical importance. Over the years, many of these coins were lost, melted down, or damaged. That means fewer high-quality pieces remain today. And in the world of coin collecting, scarcity is everything. Now think about this. A coin that once bought everyday items is now being carefully examined under bright lights, stored in protective cases, and sold in exclusive auctions. Collectors are not just buying metal. They are buying a story, a connection to a time that can never be repeated. For men in the 55 to 65 age group, this coin often brings back a sense of nostalgia. It reminds them of an era when money felt different, when coins had weight and character. Unlike modern currency, which is often digital and invisible, this coin is something you can feel, something real. It represents a time when value was tangible. But here's where things get even more interesting. Not all 1971 1 Rand coins are equal. Some are more valuable than others, depending on their condition. A coin that has been well pressed, with sharp details and minimal wear, can command a much higher price. Collectors call this mint condition, and it's the holy grail for anyone serious about coins. There are also subtle variations that experts look for, tiny details that most people would never notice. These differences can dramatically increase a coin's worth. That's why experienced collectors spend years studying coins, learning how to identify these hidden features. Now imagine discovering one of these coins in your possession. Maybe it was passed down from a family member. Maybe you picked it up years ago and forgot about it. Suddenly, that small piece of silver becomes something much bigger. It becomes a potential asset, a conversation piece, even a legacy item. And let's not forget the emotional side of collecting. For many men, collecting coins is not just about money. It's about pride, knowledge, and the thrill of discovery. It's about holding a piece of history and understanding its journey. Each scratch, each mark, tells a story. In recent years, the interest in vintage coins like the 1971 1 Rand has grown significantly. As more people look for alternative investments, tangible assets like silver coins have gained attention. Unlike stocks or digital currencies, a coin cannot disappear overnight. It has intrinsic value, rooted in both its material and its history, yet there's also a sense of exclusivity. Not everyone has access to these coins. Not everyone understands their significance. That makes owning one feel special, almost like being part of a private club of collectors who truly appreciate what they hold. Now let's talk about the moment everyone is waiting for, the value. This is where things become truly exciting. While many coins from that era might only be worth their silver content, Certain 1971 1 Rand coins have reached astonishing prices in the collector's market. And here is the number that might surprise you. A rare, well-preserved 1971 South African 1 Rand silver coin has been valued at up to $37,000,000. Before we begin, take 1 second to subscribe to this channel, because stories like this are disappearing fast, and once this knowledge is gone, it never comes back. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the sound of real money. Not plastic cards, not digital numbers on a screen, but the heavy, confident ring of metal in the palm of a working man's hand. A sound that meant wages earned, bills paid, families fed, and pride carried quietly in a wallet. Today, I'm holding a story that comes from that world. A story pressed into metal, born in 1966, during a time when South Africa was changing, when Afrikaans echoed through government halls, farms, factories, and homes. This is not just a coin. This is a witness. The 1 Rand coin of 1966 was minted in an era when money still had authority. Men trusted weight. They trusted silver-toned metal that didn't lie, didn't vanish with a power cut, and didn't need permission to exist. This coin was part of everyday life. Yet few people stopped to think that history was forming right in their pockets. That's how important things hide. They live quietly among us, waiting for time to reveal their true power. Look closely at this coin, and you're looking at discipline, precision, national identity. The Afrikaans inscriptions tell you exactly when and where it came from. This was a statement of sovereignty, a declaration that this nation minted its own future. Every letter, every edge, every detail was deliberate. Nothing accidental. Coins like this weren't rushed. They were engineered to last longer than the men who earned them. For the generation watching this now, especially men who remember life before convenience ruled everything, this coin speaks your language. It reminds you of mornings that started early, hands rough from work, and the satisfaction of earning something real. Back then, a rand wasn't just currency. It was proof of effort. Proof that value came from labor, not speculation. Most people today would glance at this coin and see spare change. That's because modern eyes are trained to overlook substance. But collectors, historians, and seasoned investors know something different. They know that certain objects absorb the gravity of their era. This 1 Rand absorbed political tension, economic shifts, and the confidence of a country asserting itself on the global stage. Coins like this didn't just circulate through shops. They passed through generations. Now here's where the story becomes serious. Not all 1966 1 Rand coins are equal. Some were struck under unique conditions. Some survived untouched, uncleaned, unpolished, protected by pure chance. Others carry microscopic variations that only experienced eyes can detect. These small differences, invisible to the untrained observer, are what separate an ordinary coin from a legendary one that men who understand machinery, engineering, or craftsmanship will appreciate this part. When something is made in limited numbers, with old-world precision, any slight deviation becomes important. It's the same reason a rare engine part, a discontinued tool, or a hand-built component becomes priceless decades later. Scarcity plus history equals power. Over the years, collectors began to notice that certain 1966 1 Rand coins carried traits that should not exist together. Metal composition anomalies, strike quality beyond standard production, preservation that defied time. These coins weren't just rare. They were wrong in the right way. And in the world of serious collecting, that's where fortunes are born, behind closed doors, far away from flea markets and online listings. Quiet conversations began. Experts started documenting, authenticating, sealing these coins in vaults. Not for nostalgia, but for legacy. Because men who truly understand value don't chase trends. They secure assets that outlive them. Imagine owning something small enough to fit in your hand, yet powerful enough to command respect in any auction room on Earth. Imagine knowing that what looks like a simple coin could stand toe-to-toe with luxury properties, rare art, or vintage automobiles in terms of worth. That's not fantasy. That's what happens when history, rarity, and demand collide. Many of these coins were lost, melted down, spent on groceries, forgotten in drawers. That loss is exactly why the remaining examples matter so much. Survival itself became a filter. Only the strongest stories remained. This is why men in their later years are drawn to coins like this. It's not about quick profit. It's about understanding. It's about holding something that still respects weight, permanence, and truth. This coin doesn't shout. It doesn't glitter. It waits for the right man to recognize it. If your father or grandfather ever worked hard for his money, this coin would feel familiar to him. It carries that same quiet dignity. And today, that dignity has transformed into something extraordinary. Because here is the part most people will never believe until they see the proof. Point 1. Authenticated, ultra-rare example of the 1966 1 Rand Afrikaans coin, preserved in exceptional condition, with verified mint anomalies and historical documentation, has been valued at $29 million. Before we dive into something truly remarkable, take a moment and hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss the treasures we uncover together, and today, I promise, this one will stay in your memory long after the video ends. Gentlemen, let me take you on a journey back in time, way back to 1968, South Africa. Imagine a country at a crossroads, its culture, its history, and yes, even its currency telling stories that go far beyond the metal and minting process. Among the coins minted that year, one piece stands out, not just for its rarity, but for the story it carries in every inch of its design. That coin is the 1 Rand from 1968. Now, a coin isn't just a piece of currency. It's a snapshot of an era. The 1968 1 Rand is a reflection of South Africa's identity at that moment, its pride, its ambition, and the craftsmanship of its mints. Hold it in your hand, and you're holding history. This coin, composed of a durable alloy, was designed to withstand the passage of time, and yet, even as decades pass, it continues to draw the attention of collectors and enthusiasts alike. Look at the design for a moment. On one side, there's a powerful emblem that speaks to national pride. Every line, every curve is meticulously crafted. The reverse side often features a striking image that captures the spirit of South African wildlife or symbolism, an artistic statement frozen in metal. It's not just a coin. It's a story told in silver and copper tones, a piece of art that traveled through time, surviving years that reshaped the nation itself. Collectors and history enthusiasts alike are drawn to coins like this because they're rare windows into the past. You see, coins were produced in specific quantities, and as years go by, fewer of them remain in pristine condition. That's where the allure lies. The scarcity of a well-preserved 1968 1 Rand makes it an object of fascination and desire. It's not just about money. It's about owning a tangible piece of history, a connection to a time when life was different, slower, and perhaps, in its own way, more deliberate. Now, let me tell you something most people don't realize. The appeal of coins like this isn't only monetary. Sure, there's value, and yes, that's exciting. But the real charm lies in holding something that survived decades of change. The wear, the patina, the faint marks from handling, they all whisper stories. Each scratch or gleam on this coin is a reminder that time moves on, yet some treasures endure. That's a powerful feeling, especially for someone who has seen the world change as much as many of you watching have. Imagine sitting with this coin, examining it carefully. Maybe you're a retired gentleman, enjoying the calm of your study, a cup of coffee nearby, reflecting on your own journey. Suddenly, your mind drifts to history. The days when this coin circulated freely, passing through countless hands, witnessing the everyday lives of people, the mundane and the extraordinary alike. That sense of connection is why collectors are drawn to coins of this era. They're not just chasing value, they're chasing stories. And speaking of stories, let's talk about rarity. The 1968 1 Rand wasn't produced in the massive quantities of everyday change. Over time, many have been lost, melted down, or simply worn beyond recognition. That's why a coin in good condition becomes a gem. Even subtle differences, a slightly sharper edge, a crisper engraving, can make a huge difference for collectors. It's like spotting a first edition book or a classic car in pristine condition. There's an undeniable thrill in knowing that you possess something few others have. The coin itself has a classic, understated elegance. It's neither flashy nor gaudy, but its simplicity is part of the charm. You can almost feel the weight of history in your hand, the significance of an era distilled into a small, circular piece of metal. Its design isn't just decoration. It's symbolism, crafted with care, precision, and respect for what it represents. That's why coins like this are more than collectibles. They're a bridge to another time, a tangible link to the lives and stories of people who lived decades before us. Now, I know some of you might be wondering about its condition and its impact on value. Let me assure you, the 1968 1 Rand is highly sought after in excellent condition. Mint marks, edge details, and the preservation of its original luster can significantly influence its desirability. Even a single coin, if well maintained, can be the crown jewel of a collection. Collectors spend years hunting for coins like this, and when they find them, the sense of achievement is immense. It's a pursuit that combines patience, knowledge, and passion, a perfect hobby for those who appreciate history, craftsmanship, and the thrill of discovery. Beyond its appeal to collectors, this coin has a cultural resonance. It embodies a time of both challenge and pride, reflecting the artistic sensibilities and economic conditions of South Africa in the late 1960s. Coins like this remind us that history isn't just in textbooks. It's in the objects people used every day, in the details we might overlook, in the small things that survive when everything else changes. As you consider adding a coin like this to your own collection, think about the stories it carries. Picture it displayed carefully in a case, admired not just for its material, but for its history. Imagine showing it to friends or family and sharing its journey, connecting generations through a shared appreciation for the past. That's the beauty of coins. They don't just hold monetary value. They hold memory, experience, and a sense of connection that transcends time. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the payoff after this journey through history and craftsmanship. The 1968 South African 1 Rand, in good condition, has a value that often surprises those who encounter it for the first time. Today, a well-preserved coin like this can be valued at around $600. Yes, $600 for a piece of metal that carries decades of history, culture, and artistry in its design. It's a remarkable example of how something seemingly ordinary can hold extraordinary worth, both financially and emotionally. So, gentlemen, remember this. When you hold a coin like the 1968 1 Rand, you're holding more than money. You're holding a story, a memory, and a piece of history. That's the power of collectibles, and that's why coins like this continue to fascinate, inspire, and capture the imagination of those who appreciate the finer details of life. And if you've enjoyed this journey, don't forget, you've got to subscribe to keep uncovering treasures like this, because history, after all, is full of surprises waiting for the patient and curious. Thank you for taking this journey with me. And remember, every coin has a story, but only a few tell it as powerfully as the 1968 South African 1 Rand. Welcome to SG Coin Chronicles, your trusted gateway into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and forgotten currency history. From ancient empires to modern rarities, we uncover the stories, values, and secrets behind some of the world's most remarkable coins. Whether you're a collector, a history lover, or simply curious, we bring you well-researched insights, real coin values, and expert commentary you won't find anywhere else. Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because every coin has a story, and CoinAZ Pulse is here to tell it. This is the story of a coin that carries more than just a face value, the 1970 South African 1 Rand. At first glance, it may appear ordinary, but in its weight, design, and rarity, it whispers stories of history, art, and collector fervor. Imagine holding a round disc, 32.7 millimeters across and 2.25 millimeters thick, weighing 15 grams. Its metal is not pure silver, but an alloy of 80% silver and 20% copper. giving it a lustrous sheen tinged with warmth. Munstuck.com +1 on the obverse side. You will find the coat of arms of South Africa, flanked by the country's name in both Afrikaans, Suid-Afrika, and English, South Africa. Beneath, the date, 1970, appears, and just below the arms, the initials TS appear, marking the handiwork of designer Tommy Sassing. OnlineCoin.club +1 around the arms is the motto Yex Unitate Vires, meaning from unity, strength. AmericanHistory.si.edu +2, OnlineCoin.club +2 flip it over, and the reverse reveals one of the most elegant symbols of South Africa, the springbok antelope in mid-leap, frozen in time. Above that figure is the Latin phrase Soli Deo Gloria, glory to God alone. Below is the denomination 1 Rand, and to the side, the initials JVZ for Jan Van Zyl, the engraver. OnlineCoin.club +2 Munstuck.com +2 The edge of the coin is finely reeded, adding texture and symmetry. Munstuck.com +1 To appreciate the significance of this coin, one must see it in the context of its era. The South African rand was introduced in 1961, replacing the South African pound in decimal form. Over the years, coin designs evolved, and metals shifted as economic pressures mounted. Wikipedia +1 The 1 Rand coin began circulation in 1967 and initially used silver. Over time, rising costs forced metallurgical changes, but in 1970 this coin still carried substantial silver content. Wikipedia +2 OnlineCoin.club +2 However, while this coin bears the hallmarks of circulation, many of the silver 1 Rand coins were struck not for daily use, but for collectors and proof sets. In fact, the silver 1 Rand coins from this era were often reserved for mint sets or special issues. OnlineCoin.club +2 RandCoin.company ZA +2 The mintage numbers reflect that. For 1970, the total mintage for silver 1 Rand coins is estimated in various sources around 26,000 pieces, out of which a portion were proofs. OnlineCoin.club +1 among those. Only a limited subset might have been intended for open circulation. OnlineCoin.club because of this dual character. Part circulating coin, part collector issue. The coin's survival in unblemished condition is rare. Many suffered wear, scratches, or corrosion. Collectors prize those that remain in mint or nearly mint state, with original toning or luster. When such examples surface, they command far more interest than heavily worn ones. One of the fascinating aspects of this coin is the story behind the imagery and inscriptions. The motto Yex Unitate Vires echoes a hope for unity in a country grappling with divisions. The springbok, a graceful antelope native to southern Africa, became a national symbol, elegant, agile, and proud. The phrase Soli Deo Gloria has deeper roots in Christian theology, reflecting the influence of faith in the society of that time. The combination of art, national identity, and spiritual motto makes this coin more than metal. It embodies a cultural snapshot. Collectors also look for small details. How sharply were the letters struck? Are the fields smooth or frosted? Does the coin show any die clashes, double strikes, or variations in the engraver initials? Some coins of this series might lack the TS initials in certain years, replaced by other signatures like ALS in later years. Numista +2 RandCoin.company ZA +2, but for 1970, the TS mark is expected. Experts compare specimens under magnification to confirm authenticity and check for subtle errors that can add premium value. Condition is everything in numismatics. A pristine proof or uncirculated example could sparkle as though just minted, with mirror fields and crisp details. A worn specimen, by contrast, might lose detail in the high points of the design or have surface spots from handling. In grading, even a slight scratch or hairline mark can drop a coin's grade significantly, and thus its market value. The rarity of high-grade specimens has led to strong demand among collectors worldwide. Those with professional grading, say NGC or PCGS, often fetch higher prices because buyers have confidence in the coin's authenticity and condition. Over the decades, auction results and private sales have shown that exceptional 1970 silver 1 rand coins can command substantial sums. The combination of silver content, historical appeal, and collector demand drives the market. Very few reach the highest grades, making them special when they do. So, when one of these coins finally emerges in top condition, collectors converge. It becomes a prize piece in a collection, a conversation starter, and a tangible connection to a moment in time that if you imagine placing this coin in your hand, turning it slowly, catching the light on the springbox curve or the arm's crisp edges, you'll see why this is more than currency. It's a relic. And among relics, this one enters the realm of the elite.